This play between the legs, comes right back to him.
But man, oh man, has his kid got some hands.
The net, it looks like he's going for the old Michigan. He brings it up. Miller goes to knock it off. He shoots it in front.
Oh, what a pass!
Away, gains the zone around Kubalik. Back to Foligno. He scores!
With a lot of mustard on it.
Ovechkin score! The Grade 8 Express pulls into third place. All time.
This is the Pucked Up Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pucked Up Podcast. It is me, yet again, Danger Water, with my two lovely co-hosts, Chris, aka Finjiff, doing the little, hey, it's me, and D. Or D-bag. I hate calling you D-bag because you're so not a D-bag, but
I am though. In the right context, I really am. But to people I like,
okay.
I'm very nice.
He's a D-bag in the best type
better
of way.
not.
Yeah.
Right?
I am a D-bag in the best type of way.
The best of ways.
You are our favorite D-bag. How about that?
Facts.
I will take that title. Gladly.
Welcome back again. Much like last week, this is probably going to be a relatively quick episode just because it's like the last week of home game. Well, not even home games, of games for, I think, every team.
Yeah, the regular season wraps up.
Regular season's done this week. We collectively as a group just watched the Wild lose in our last home game. We have one more game Thursday night against the Panthers.
Oh, and there were some questionable hits in that game. Like, at least one real fucking, like, hey, man.
Nasty ass hit that, it'll be interesting to see, because we'll talk about our bad boys. We do have bad boys in the league again. Some fines. And it'll be interesting to see, especially from that game, what all comes out.
Right.
If anything, because let's face it, they're kind of
in particular, the head coach of Winnipeg saying a particular word that is not politically correct for little people. Clearly.
And directing it at a player seems like...
And directing it at, seemingly a player who is very tall. I mean, it was Foligno.
Which is why
like
I'm wondering if maybe he was addressing it to the ref. I don't know.
Maybe.
But either way, like, just
but that in particular
not
is
a great
inappropriate for a head coach to be doing. So,
but I will say he will get more of a fine if it was towards a ref than it was towards a player.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The fine will be worse.
Because our refs have little baby feelings. And not to say that, like, nobody should be offended by that. By this, I'm just talking in general,
but overall, they have little baby feelings.
The refs this season in particular have been utter dog shit.
Yeah.
Unless you ask our wonderful, fearless commissioner.
Fuck Gary Bettman.
No, he has addressed it this year. A couple different times.
The last I heard, he said that there have been nothing wrong with the reffing decisions in this season. Is the last statement I heard him say.
I definitely recall him saying that there were some points where the reffing can be a little better. So at least, But again, I also understand.
The standard answer for everything.
Right. But I also,
because there's always room to improve, right? Like, that's me saying I could be a better massage therapist. Well, yes, I can. That doesn't mean I don't work my ass off to do the best I can every day.
Yeah.
These refs, I don't think are doing the best they can every day.
Right.
And there have been plenty of games, Wild games and not, that I feel are clearly biased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I get it too at the same time, because, like, when you're the one when you're like the top exec, it's not the best business practice to just be like, oh, these people suck. I get it, but also, like, if you're going to address it outside of you know.
Yeah, I would say don't
Right.
address it publicly, address it internally and have that be its thing.
Right. Yeah, well, and I mean, you know, I think that's the biggest thing, and you know,
Yeah.
if we look at the NHL as a whole this year, you know, it's been
Right.
quite the season. So
Yeah, they're
Heard
I mean,
that.
in good and bad ways. I mean, we had
Yeah.
a shit ton of records broken, which we'll go over either next week or the week after. It depends on how much time I need to gather it, but I thought that might be a fun topic to talk about what records did get broken this year because it's been a lot.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good and bad ways in that this season has been unlike several others. It also is the first season of Pucked Up Podcast, so of course it's like revolutionary, right?
So yeah, Avi.
Light shattering right here.
Yeah.
Just have to, light plug our own show on our own show.
Because if we are not going to stroke our own egos, who's going to?
Right. Nobody strokes
Please
my
let us
ego,
know in the
okay?
comments if you would like to stroke our egos. We would love to know.
Right.
Yes, please. But to start today, we starting with a topic near and dear to my heart. But the Wild did sign prospect. Well, I guess he's not really a prospect anymore, but Brock Faber from the Minnesota Gophers. So hometown kid, but
Love it.
I had to laugh with the picture for the road trip that they shared because they were in Chicago last night, and it was all of the Wild bag, 2 Iowa Wild bags, and 1 Gopher bag. All lined against the wall, and they're like, And then somebody commented, somebody needs to get him a new bag.
And also shout out to the Minnesota Golden Gophers hockey team for a fantastic season, making the finals.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up because we lost to UConn.
No, you lost to Quinnipiac. So Quinnipiac won their first national championship in hockey, which is ironically 2 Connecticut colleges in the same week winning national championships.
It's kind of a nice underdog story, though.
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of
I
love
had
it.
never
for
heard
that.
of Quinnipiac until.
That's what I mean. That's a true underdog story.
Yeah.
Right. That's totally true.
I have friends.
He messaged me and he's like, "Hey, Minnesota and Quinnipiac are playing for the Quinnipiac Cup, whatever the fuck it was." I'm like, "Awesome!"
The national championship, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is totally an underdog story because Minnesota won it last year, and to go in to defend, and Minnesota was easily the best team in the nation this year.
Yeah.
So,
the Gophers are incredible. I will give them that. We have a great coach.
Congrats to them on a great season.
Yeah. We have had a good season. Well, that takes me back to working security at the Gophers games. Anyway, but yeah, so we're super excited that Brock is playing with us. We brought up Rossi and Patan and a couple other people because when they went to Chicago last night, Kaprizov, Spurgeon, Zuccarello, and Brodeen all stayed home from that trip. Apparently, also, if anybody knows, we love the bromance between Matt Zuccarello and Kirill Kaprizov. It's Uncle Kirill to Zook's little baby, Matilda. And apparently, Zook and I don't know if they're married or not, fiance, partner, whatever we want to say. Him and his partner wanted a date night. And Uncle Kirill stayed home and watched Matilda for them. So I thought that was super cute. You can be one of the top NHL players in the league. You can still get sucked into babysitting.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was super sweet because, as I love said that before, Kirill, if he's not over for dinner at their house, which he is almost every night, he will FaceTime Matilda and sing to her or read her a story, typically in Russian.
That's adorable.
Which I just think is super fucking cute. And Kirill is one of the sweetest literal children out there. And I say that because he is significantly younger than me.
Oh, he's like 22, 23?
No, he's 20. He's 25 or 6. He's born in 97 too.
Oh,
he's the same age as McDavid. Which they even were drafted the same year, but Kirill, because I was like, well, why does it feel like McDavid's been in the league so much longer? Well, Kirill had his 2 years that he had to fight for Russia, but he played hockey for the Russian team, so that counted as his service year. So he got signed the same year as McDavid, but couldn't come over to America because he had to do 2 years in Russia.
Yeah, which I'd say worked out perfectly
Yeah.
for him because he's
Right,
now
exactly.
in a better position with the Wild than he would have
Yeah.
been when
Right.
they
And
started.
he came back Saturday night, was his first game back after being gone for a month. And honestly, like, our press release was awesome because it was just literally like all of the like headline info, like standard stuff in a press release, and then the quote was just "he's back," and that was it.
Nice.
And then the commentators, everybody like kept giving him a hard time because even like Evanson, after like their first win without Corral, they're like, "Yeah, we finally got rid of that dead weight, number 97." So like they're just giving him a hard time, razzing him and stuff. But you could definitely tell like he's a great fucking player, and you can tell by the way the guys and the coaches do razz on him that he's well respected and liked in the
Yeah.
locker room.
Right.
And
And his stats speak for themselves, you know.
oh
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, he doesn't have the numbers that McDavid has this year, but he's pretty fucking close.
Oh,
and
well, yeah. I
all
mean, no
things
one was
considered.
close to McDavid this year, but like
Right.
in general, yeah.
But like skill level,
Oh,
he
yeah.
would be if he had the team around him like McDavid has, because you can't deny what that team has done too. So
Yeah.
but anyway, we're super excited for Brock to be here for 2 years. Chances are, I'm assuming we signed him and it being listed as an entry level, or not entry level, but maybe it was. I don't remember the wording on it, but I'm assuming he's going to end up going down to Iowa in the off season to train and all of that
Yeah.
crap. But
Right.
Probably.
super fucking exciting.
Yeah.
And then D,
Mm-hmm.
you have our Masterson Trophy nominees, right?
Yes. So the Masterson Trophy is awarded to a player who exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to the game. So every year, the Masterson Trophy is voted on by members of each of the PWHA, with all 32 teams having one player appointed as a nominee, and then voting commences from there. So it was just released like a day or two ago. So we're going to go through who those nominees are. We might pause and say a few words about some of them, but for the most part, I think we're probably just going to keep it pushing. To start, we have the Anaheim Ducks. They nominated Jakob Silfverberg. Obviously, we love him.
Listen, I have nothing but great things to say about
Yeah.
Jakob Silfverberg. The guy's such an asset to not only the Anaheim Ducks as a whole, team-wise, but the community. You're not going to find better guys than Jakob, man. So super happy.
And one of
that
the
he's-
reasons he was nominated, we should say, is because he overcame major hip surgery as well as a blood clotting issue in his leg.
Yeah,
Which must have been so scary. And that was in the last 2 years. So now he's healthy again. He only missed one game.
and he played really well this year. So you know,
Yeah. So he brought his offensive production back into the double digits in goals and assists. So
yeah,
good for him. For Arizona, for the Coyotes, we have Clayton Keller. Again, another big name.
Yeah, love him.
Yeah, absolutely. For the Boston Bruins, we have Nick Foligno.
Love
A
the
name that
Foligno
we're all
boys.
familiar with.
gotta love
The
Nick
Foligno
Foligno.
brothers.
God,
Yeah.
my dream is to have Nick Foligno come, even if it's for like 3 games. I want to have both Foligno boys play for the Wild. And it's like the Basham brothers, right? Like, I just want to watch them fuck shit up. With Revo, too, because why not throw Reeves? Or if my real dream comes true and we get Delorier back, fucking brilliant. I don't care if it's Reeves or D'Lo.
I'd prefer
Fucking
D'Lo.
Basham boys.
Foligno brothers.
Yeah,
I know you
Just
I
like
love
them,
I
but
love
personality-wise?
Delorier.
D'Lo is
No, I
phenomenal.
just love Delorier's personality. So I'd like to
I
see
do
their
too.
personality.
And he's a former Duck, so Des
Yeah,
has a nice spot in my heart. Always.
Right. But yeah, no. Love Folignos.
For the Buffalo Sabres, they nominated Craig Anderson, which again, he agreed to come back for one more season, and that's great. We'll see what happens next year. I'm pretty sure.
I hope he doesn't. Like, I like Craig Anderson. Dude, just retire. You're 41.
I know.
Hang
I
it up.
think
You had a great career.
Yeah.
Just hang it up.
Yeah, exactly. For the Calgary Flames, we have Mikhail Backlund. I don't really have a whole lot on him. In terms of like a career-ending injury that he's come back from. So I think it's just his dedication on the ice and to his teammates. For the Carolina Canes, we have Jordan Martinook, And again, he had been put on waivers for a cap related move, and then came back and was an alternate captain, and so he's had some up and down time. And so he's continued to be dedicated to his team. For the Chicago Blackhawks, we have Alex Stalock.
Love Stalock too.
Which again, another comeback player. He had a diagnosis of myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart following COVID-19, that allowed him to just play one game over the 2021 and 2022-2023 seasons. So huge shout out to him for dealing with that, and also a concussion and ocular dysfunction from separate incidences as well. So he's really been through it. For the Colorado Avalanche, we have Andrew Cogliano. Obviously, that's another name that we're super familiar with. He's had, at 35 years old, he's played 1,200 games, over 1,200 games, which is incredible.
Yeah.
For the Columbus...
Sorry, I was going to say, another former Duck, he also at one point had a very long Ironman streak. He had never been hurt his entire career until like his last season with Anaheim. He took a hard, like pretty dirty check and it hurt his leg. But dude, Cogliano, man, he's such a grinder. Love that guy.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
For the Columbus Blue Jackets, they nominated Boone Jenner. Again, he is a dedicated player as well. In his like actual write-up, it says he's relentlessly competitive, but rarely crosses the line with opponents or officials. I don't think that that's going to stand up. He missed 3 weeks because of a broken thumb. I don't think that stands up to like the shit that, Alex Stalock had to go through. So I'm sorry, Boone, but you're not getting it.
No, his name will forever be Bloon now.
Bloon. I mean, Boone Jenner is a fun name to say, though.
It is.
I will say that. You have that going for you. For the Dallas Stars, we have Jamie Benn. It says in the 4 years of coming into the season, his play was heavily scrutinized by those inside the Stars organization and outside. But he has since risen to be a prolific scorer.
Yeah, like everyone compares him to his brother, and obviously, I think if you're going to compare, I think Jordy's a little better. But Jamie Benn's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's another one of those like it's great, you're not winning it.
Yeah,
We have from the Detroit Red Wings, we have Robbie Fabry. He's undergone 3 ACL surgeries. His latest one delayed his debut to seasons this season, January 4th. So again, he has missed a ton because of that injury, but he's remained dedicated, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
For the Edmonton Oilers, we have Derek Ryan. He was an undrafted 24-year-old when he graduated from the University of Alberta Golden Bears 12 years ago, and left Edmonton for 4 years of pro hockey in Europe, finally coming back at age 29 to the NHL. And he's been dependable for his team there, so it's nice. Florida Panthers, we have Patrick Hornquist. Again, he's a name that we're all really familiar with. He's also had some injuries, suffering his second concussion within the span of a month this past December. Panthers have said he's not going to play again this season due to those injuries.
He also, I know, at least when he was with Pittsburgh, he did a lot with the children's hospitals. I believe all the teams he's played for, he definitely does a lot of stuff there, which I think is great.
He does. And he's also helpful to his teammates. He really helped Anthony Duclair get through his Achilles tendon surgery. They were workout partners for quite a while.
That's awesome.
The next one is someone who I particularly love, Phoenix Copley from the LA Kings. Copley was a former Washington goalie. It is a great name, and he's a great dude, honestly.
Yeah.
So he only played 2 NHL games since the 2019-2020 season. But, he's a great guy. He's also super, super sweet. He set a franchise record by becoming the fastest goaltender to reach the 20-win mark, needing only just 29 appearances to do so.
Wow, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, Copley's a great dude. Next one is one that Danger loves, and we all love too.
Oh, yeah.
For the Minnesota Wild, we have Mason Shaw. He again tore his ACL for the 3rd time.
Fourth.
His
Fourth.
this says
is his
third in this
fourth ace.
statement, but I think you're right. I think
He's
it's
had
fourth.
3 already.
Yeah.
This is his 4th.
So his dad flew to Des Moines thinking he was going to take him home for good, but instead
Nope.
he stayed.
I love that story.
And began his third 6-month rehab this past fall. Had an exceptional training camp before being named an Iowa Wild captain. Called up after 2 games. He just never left. He became a fourth-line mainstay and a penalty killer before, unfortunately, suffering yet another season-ending knee injury on April 1st in Vegas.
Fucking
so
cruel
he's
April Fool's joke.
right.
Yeah.
So he worked really hard to stay in the NHL, and I have no doubt he's going to come back.
No.
After this one.
I think I said it last week, but Guerin has already said like he was going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the year anyway. He said nothing has changed. It was always our plan to sign Shaw. So he's not going anywhere. But similar to his last knee injury, again, this time his dad flew in, who is a former NHL player, which is why Shaw wears number 15, because it was his dad's number.
Which is cute.
Also happens to be my favorite number, but that's beside the point. But so his dad again flew to Des Moines to try to take him home, or flew to the city, is one of the two.
Yeah.
I think he flew in thinking he was going to end up rehabbing in Des Moines this time. And even Shaw put out a statement today or yesterday saying no, like he's a part of the team up here. He wants to, do everything in the cities, especially so that he can be with the team through playoffs. Even though he won't be able to play, he can still be with the guys. And I think it was his dad that said, like, he's like, I'm proud of my son for making that decision, but rightfully so, that's easily going to help him rehab faster because he's going to be around people that he loves and that love him. Not that his parents don't, but it's slightly different when it's your teammates,
When you have 20 people cheering you on versus 2.
Right.
Yeah.
But the guy is, whoever he's living with right now, I forget who it is, was like, you're not taking him home. Like he's in here, and basically the whole team was very much that same way. Like, now you go home. We've got taken care of for you. Like we got it covered for you. And I as a parent, I can only imagine that's got to warm his dad's heart, being a former NHL player, but also just knowing that your kid has great fucking friends like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that's got to be awesome. But love Shaw. I love that he was nominated. I can't wait for him to come back. Yeah. Stronger than ever, bionic,
We can rebuild
give people the
we
people's
have
knee,
technology.
whatever.
Right.
We have the technology, that's correct.
So for the Montreal Canadiens, we have Alex Belzil. He scored his first ever NHL goal on February 12th against the Edmonton Oilers at 31 years old.
Wow, that's
It was only his 20th game with the Canadiens, spread over the past 3 seasons. And so since the 1967 expansion, he is the oldest Canadiens player to ever score his first NHL goal. So that is why he has been nominated.
Well, that's kind of sweet, but also like
you're not going to win. We just talked about Mason Shaw, who's had 4 fucking knee surgeries. Dude.
Yeah, he's on his 4th, and he's like a younger kid too. Like Shaw's not super old either, if I remember right.
So then we have for the Nashville Predators, we have Cody Glass.
I love this story.
Yeah, he's 24.
He's 24. He's had tons of injuries, inconsistencies that led to long stretches in the minors, and even being stuck in the U.S. during the height of COVID-19. Unable to return home to Canada. I almost called it Canada because I do that in my brain, and then I forget that people don't know what that means.
I'm not voting for Cody. He's from Winnipeg. Fuck Winnipeg.
That's so
but
petty.
during COVID, he couldn't return to Canada to rehab his torn ACL.
Yeah.
So he had to do that alone here in the States, which sucks.
He also there was he wasn't sure in the in like the preseason and stuff if he was even gonna make the team. He got the final spot on the roster for Nashville, and he's been playing really well. So super excited for Cody.
Well,
absolutely.
So plus you gotta fucking heart goes out to him. He was born on April Fool's Day.
No.
But he was also like, not to be funny about it, but he was a first round pick, 6th overall in the 2017 draft. So that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the New Jersey Devils, we have Dougie Hamilton. He is a Canadian defenseman who plays for the Devils. The Bruins selected him originally as the 9th overall pick in 2011, and he's grown into one of the league's top defensemen since then.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, he had a brutal jaw injury last January, and he says he still can't feel his jaw sometimes. Despite that, he has helped lead the team to obviously clinch their first playoff berth since 2017, the 2017 season.
Dougie
So-
really blossomed when he went to New Carolina after
Yeah.
Boston. I don't think Boston was the right fit for him, but nah, man,
No.
Dougie's a hell of a defenseman.
Yeah. Again, you're not going to win, but I hope your jaw feels better. New York
I hope
Islanders
your
have.
jaw gets better.
I do. I genuinely do. That sucks that you can't feel it. Imagine how difficult that is while eating soup.
Oh God.
If you can't feel your jaw.
Right.
So the New
Anyway.
York Islanders have nominated Zach Parise. So Parise is a 20-goal scorer for the 11th time in 18 seasons. And for the first time since 2019-2020, making him in the late JP Parise the fourth father-son duo in NHL history with 20 goals for the same franchise, which is also really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Parise's
that
had
is
a
very
cool
cool.
career, so it's cool to see him get nominated.
Crazy's, yeah, great player.
Mm-hmm. For the New York Rangers, they nominated Jimmy Vesey. He is a journeyman that competed for 4 different teams over the last 3 seasons. He returned to the first team he was assigned with as a coveted free agent. He's had to change over time with being on, 4 different fucking teams. That's a lot of systems to learn. But he's kind of back. Again, I feel for him, not a winning remark.
But like at the same time, it's a total win for VC in the fact that he fits in really well with the Rangers. So
yes, it is.
Like I'm super happy he finally found that home again.
100%. But I don't think it matches up to the Masterton.
He's not gonna win, but
yeah, he's not gonna win. For the Ottawa Senators, we have Derek Brassard, another name that we're all familiar with.
So he arrived, Ranger.
Yeah, he arrived at training camp on a PTO and was considered a long shot to crack the Senators rosters. But he did earn a contract just prior to the start of the season. He suited up for his 1,000th game this season and scored 2 goals that night, ultimately getting the Sens a win.
Not only cracking the roster, but he's been on the top 6 for most of the season.
Yeah, he's doing very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
The Philadelphia Flyers, they nominated Nick Seeler. So he's 29-year-old defenseman, is a study in perseverance. He stepped away from hockey for a season because he needed a mental and physical break. Again, we super support people taking care of their mental health. So shout out to Nick for that. He wasn't expected to be a regular this season, but he has become one of the Flyers' best defensemen. Not hard when your team sucks. He set a career high in goals and points and is the second on the Flyers in hits and second among their D-men with a +2 rating. He's also among the leaders in blocked shots, which is incredible. He's putting his body through some hell doing that. So he's an ultimate team player is what they say. Again, happy to see him back. For leaving the sport for a year to take care of yourself and to come back this strong shows that it clearly fucking works. And so I hope that inspires other players who are also feeling the strain of such a physical sport and such a rough sport, that they can be motivated to also take the time they need and come back better than ever.
Right. Absolutely.
Speaking of people who should probably take the time they need to come back better than ever, the Pittsburgh Penguins have nominated Chris Letang, who suffered yet another fucking heart attack this year and was back out on the ice stroke. Yeah, you're right. It was a stroke, not a heart attack. And was back out on the ice within like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, listen, I agree, but also at the same time, if you looked at his stats since, I don't think he needs the time off.
Incredible.
I
would need it as his significant other because I'd be like, dude, I can't. You just need to fucking chill for a goddamn second. I get it, you're good, but like, please, let me just love you for a minute. But it seems like he's doing really well.
And like, I love I've mentioned before my dad being a Penguins fan. I love listening to my dad talk about Letang because my dad just has so much respect for him because not only is he an amazing player, he's a future Hall of Famer. There's no question. But he's such a good human being. Like, he's genuinely so sweet and kind-hearted. Like, you gotta cheer for Chris Letang.
Right.
Right.
So by the way, they have bios that were provided by the WHA. And so I'm going to read you this one for Chris because it does give a lot of information. I'm not going to read all of them in their full entirety because a lot of them are stupid. The Penguins nominee for a fourth time is Letang. His 17-year career has been one setback after another. His best friend, Luc Bourdon, died in a motorcycle accident during Letang's first trip to the Stanley Cup final in 2008. Letang, a
Oh my
lifetime
God.
sufferer of debilitating migraines, had a stroke in 2015 that led to the diagnosis of a small hole in his heart. He and his wife then lost a child to miscarriage in 2016, and a neck injury forced him to miss the Penguins Cup run in 2017.
Yep.
He has also missed games on 3 occasions because of a concussion, but even with all of that, this season has been especially trying for Letang. He missed time because of a second stroke and the death of his father. Still, Letang remains the Penguins' best defenseman, leading that position in goals, points, and minutes, while also serving as a mentor to Pierre-Olivier Joseph, a fellow French-Canadian who lives with Letang's family in Pittsburgh. Always a deserving nominee, Letang would be worthy winner of the Masterton Trophy.
Yeah, and you just want to pull for him, because
You really
Oh
do.
yeah.
he's such a good dude and gone through so much shit. And the
Absolutely. And
man
I
has
didn't realize
won.
half of that had
Yeah.
happened in his life, and especially the times that it happened. That's the definition of perseverance. Is someone
And
who just
he's,
keeps coming back.
won 3 Stanley Cups. I want to say, honestly, I would say he's probably, if not the best, one of the best in franchise history for the
Right.
Penguins as a defenseman.
Oh, he's for sure a Hall of Famer, and his jersey should be retired by the Penguins when he's done.
Oh yeah, I'm imagining
Absolutely.
I
he'll
can't
hang,
imagine it's not.
He'll hang in the rafters right alongside Crosby and right alongside Malkin, and I'm almost positive it'll happen all at the same time because they've
Yeah,
all
I would
played
love
their
that.
entire careers together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, we have the San Jose Sharks. They have nominated Nikolai Neitsov. Neitsov was the Sharks Rookie of the Year in 2020-21. Unfortunately, that season ended with a sports hernia surgery, which set off a nearly 2-year odyssey to get back into the game. The first surgery led to 4 total procedures, an infection, and missing all of the 2021-2022 season. And then leading up to this season, he suffered a torn Achilles tendon. So he has really worked to get back in it. He returned to play in the NHL January 25th, 623 days after his last game with the Sharks. And he finally returned to the Sharks play on March 6th. So again, a couple of seasons laden with just injuries.
Hey, listen, Kobe
Right.
tore his Achilles, came back and won the MVP the next year. So
Yeah.
it's possible to come
Right.
back better.
Oh, 100%.
Well, and we've had so many this season in particular that ended up with torn Achilles.
Yeah. For the Seattle Kraken, we have Brandon Tanev. Tanev overcame a torn ACL that ended his 2021-2022 season midway through, and has rallied to form part of arguably the NHL's best fourth line for his playoff-bound squad. He has a great sense of humor and a gritty on-ice leadership. He's taken the primary role in helping Kraken form lasting bonds within the Seattle community. Again, he was the first person last year to volunteer to make community visits, going to hospitals and schools. His ghost-like facial expressions becoming a huge hit with children. Tanev is known for taking that picture on every team he's at where he's like, eyes super big, blank stare kind of a
He's
thing.
such a goober.
He's so funny.
The fucking creepy ass picture that ends up
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Every year without fail. It's very funny. But it's a huge hit with the kids, and so that's why he goes to a lot of hospitals and schools. He's a great dude. We really like him.
I agree.
For the St. Louis Blues, we have Sammy Blaze. I just can't say his name without laughing. Blaze, 26, endured long odds of making it to the NHL as a 6th-round draft pick. He became a productive member of the Stanley Cup winning club in 2019. He was then traded to New York in a high-profile trade involving Pavel Buchnevich, but he played just 14 games there before suffering a torn ACL and missing the remainder of the 21-22 season. He returned to the Rangers roster in 22, but was subsequently dealt back to the Blues in another high-profile trade involving Vladimir Tarasenko in 2023. After scoring 0 goals with the Ranger in 54 games, Blaze eclipsed his career point total in St. Louis. So cool. Good for you.
Well,
Tampa Bay Lightning, they have
between
nominated
him and Matthew Perreault on how many times they can go back to St. Louis.
Right? Good God. For Tampa Bay Lightning, we have Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. So Pierre-Edouard carved out his leadership niche with his constant positive attitude and passion for the game. He played his 608th NHL game this season, setting a record for most played by a French national, which is interesting. That seems too few for France, but I guess they call it quits early. Unfortunately, this season, he found out in October that his mother, Frederique, had her cancer came back. He left the team around Thanksgiving time to essentially say goodbye to his mother. Unfortunately, his mother did pass this past January. So the game in his second game back, he scored a goal in the Lightning's win over the Kings, and he pointed up to the sky to acknowledge his mom.
Yeah.
For the Toronto Maple Leafs, we have Mark Giordano, the oldest Maple Leaf at the age of 39. Damn, dude. That's not that old, but like, sure.
I'm fucking old as dirt, man.
Right.
God, I hate this shit sometimes. Anyway, continue.
So this season, Giordano broke the modern-day NHL record for most career shot blocks with his 2,045th. While that stat has only been kept regularly by the league since 2005-2006, it remains a remarkable achievement given how hard pucks are fired these days. And obviously the heightened risk of injury when you're jumping in front of those goddamn things.
And they hurt.
They hurt like a son of a bitch.
I mean, dude, Mark Giordano is one of the classiest people in the NHL.
Yeah.
I don't think we can say anything that no one has already said about Giordano.
Right. Absolutely.
The guy's an awesome person. So I'm glad to see him on this list.
Yeah, and he's averaged 18 minutes and 57 seconds of ice time this season, which is incredible. Honestly. For the Vancouver Canucks, they have nominated Brock Brozier. That's a hard name to say. Brock Bozier.
It's actually weird. It's weirdly pronounced Besser.
No.
Yeah. No, it's pronounced
it
Besser, which doesn't make sense.
Bozier makes so much more sense.
Doesn't it?
Bozier. I've always called him Bozier.
Yeah. And I
Even
hope that
when
all
we
of his
were
teammates
trying
do
to get
too,
him
but
back
Besser?
here. Yeah.
It's actually pronounced Besser. I know.
I know. It's
Never.
fucking stupid.
I don't think I've ever heard any announcer pronounce it
Yeah.
Besser. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I know it's weird, right?
Anyway, that's fun. Unfortunately, this season, his sixth season in the
Minnesota
NHL,
thing.
he did lose his father to dementia and cancer.
Oh my god,
which
and
is really,
he's only
really tough.
26.
Yeah. He also
I did
suffered
not realize he was that young.
Yeah, he suffered a wrist injury in preseason. Came back, had his surgical wound reopen, which put him back on injured reserve. And then unfortunately was almost a healthy scratch for the Hockey Fights Cancer Night, which is unfortunate. He's improved his game, which is great. Happy to see that he's been able to make a bit of a recovery there.
Right.
The Vegas Golden Knights have obviously nominated Phil Kessel. I say obviously because he has the Ironman record currently, because he has played 1,060 consecutive games, and that's going on. He hasn't stopped as of the time of this, so he just keeps playing.
He keeps fucking playing hockey. It's like
he keeps fucking playing hockey.
Phil Kessel's another one, just like Giordano. It's like, what do you need to say about him that hasn't already been said? The man's a Stanley Cup champion. He's won Olympic gold.
You know what?
He's done everything that needs to be done.
4 games.
I know, like a psychopath.
Like
I'm here for it.
Just a bowl full of sharp cheddar, shredded sharp cheddar. I can't stress enough that it is shredded cheese that he eats before.
And then he wonders why he feels like shit during the game. It's like, bro,
right? Yeah, he's like, my stomach hurts. I wonder why. Amazing. I love that for you. The cheese is what keeps you going through 1,060 games, bud. That's the secret. We've found it.
The cheese carried him to 2 Stanley Cup finals.
Hell yeah.
Not the rest of the Penguins. It was
I knew I loved cheese for a fucking reason.
Right? All right, then we get to my team, which we obviously, we could have nominated someone else, but he hasn't been back to play yet, so I think that is kind of like a criteria for this. So we have nominated John Carlson this year for the Washington Capitals. The same night he assisted Alex Ovechkin's 801st goal, and minutes before the 802nd goal, John Carlson took a slap shot to the head from former teammate Brendan Dillon. It wasn't purposeful. The way that's phrased make it sound like Brendan was like, "Hey, yo, fuck you."
Just
But it
aimed it in his
was
face.
not how that happened at all.
No,
Carlson
he
went to the
felt so
hospital, suffered a fractured skull and severed temporal artery. Even with the Capitals realistically out of the playoff chase, Carlson has returned exactly 3 months later to show he could still play hockey in light of the injury. And I just want to say he talked about in an interview how tough that was for him because he is, as he's getting wheeled out, bleeding profusely, doesn't know if he's going to fucking live. All he could think about was his team and not being there for Alex as he, continued to chase the grade 8 and hit that incredible milestone.
Yeah. That's
And
so
he
tough.
also felt incredible guilt for being injured while the team was so clearly suffering. Which obviously wasn't his fucking fault, but like he is just one of those guys who's like, it just sucks that I'm not out there. I'm not contributing. I'd feel less bad if I was out there and I could have maybe helped prevent a loss. But knowing that I could have been doing something from the team and I'm, stuck here injured has really been hard for me mentally.
That speaks
And I
volumes
totally
to
get
him as a
that.
person, not only just a player, but a person,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So luckily he seems to be doing really well since he came back. I believe he scored a goal. He might have had no, he didn't. He might have had a goal and an assist in like his third game back or something like that. The Caps didn't put it in his bio, but again, so happy to see him back on the ice. Having a fractured skull and a severed temporal artery, he was still celebrating Christmas with his kids a couple of days later and doing the whole like hiding the presents under the tree thing.
like a
He's just an
legend.
incredible dude. Yeah. And lastly, we have the Winnipeg Jets who have nominated Sam Gagner. Obviously, it hasn't been easy for him either. He has played over 1,000 NHL career games, but he's been demoted down to the AHL several times and brought back up. Not really a whole lot there on injuries other than he underwent a hip surgery at some point in his travels to that 1,000 games.
Yeah.
So a lot of really great nominees, a ton that I'm like, how the fuck are they going to pick the one person to give these to? Because a lot of these stories are really compelling. And to see these people persevere in terms of, like, again, Chris Letang, the heart that he has put into it after all the health issues, John Carlson, Mason Shaw, Jacob Silverberg. I mean, these are all names of people who, like, obviously we know and care about, but whose trials and tribulations have been relatively public. And so we wish them all the best. Congratulations to all the nominees. If I poked fun at you, it's just because, unfortunately, I think even your own team knows you're not going to get it, but they have to put someone up and they wanted to give you your flowers while you're still in the league. So congratulations for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I say this all the time to people that don't actually know, but like, there's no sport like hockey, and the way these players, it's a community, and regardless of the one that wins, you've got 32 of the top class people that have shown nothing but heart and determination and love for not only the sport but the community that they become a part of when you're drafted to a team or traded to a team or signed to a team or what have you. So I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. So congrats to everyone, for being an inspiration to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see a winner sometime soon, and we'll obviously update you all when we have the winner of the Masterton Trophy.
It should be during the award ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's still pretty soon.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Right.
Time is relative.
Time isn't real.
Time isn't real.
I do, before we go on to our question of the week, I do want to talk really quick. The NHL just announced that they will host a preseason game in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
It'll be between the Kings and the Coyotes. Dude, this is so fucking cool. To see hockey, which is a sport that's not really played in Australia, to have some of the world's best players even in a preseason game, like that's fucking awesome. And I'm here for all of these countries that the NHL is traveling to check all these out.
Right.
Those are going to be some highly watched games too, to see how those arenas look for them, especially in a place like Australia.
Oh yeah.
So, then the question of the week is, how does this season's gameplay compare to previous seasons? And Chris, let's start with you on that one.
I mean, I think what we've seen is something special. Look at the first off. I want to give huge props to the Bruins. They just broke the record for most wins in a single season.
Yeah, they're killing it.
Like, dude, they're on fire this year. Obviously, every record that Ovechkin has broken and is chasing. Like, that's special to see teams like Seattle in their second season turn around from being awful to being amazing.
To having clinched a playoff spot,
a playoff spot, and they're a threat, I think, to have a deep run. To see a team like the Wild continue to have historically, consistent success to make the playoffs. To see a team like the Carolina Hurricanes continue to improve. Also, to see a season that Connor McDavid has put together. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but Connor McDavid, barring any sort of if he doesn't score a single point in the last 2 games, he will have the 16th best season in NHL history. And there are only 4 players ahead of him on that list.
Crazy.
Right. Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Steve Yzerman, and Phil Esposito. I don't know if you guys know this, but those are 4 of the greatest players of all time and Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And if all he needs is 5 points in the next 2 games, and he passes Yzerman and Esposito, and is only behind Mario Lemieux and like, to see the young talent in the league that's blossoming, to see the young talent that's coming up, it's such a special season. And I think 20 years from now, we're going to look back at this and say, holy shit, we saw something truly magical. I can't remember a season where I genuinely felt like, God, I love this sport, like the way I do this year, even though my team has been shit. Like, just to watch all these games, like, all these...
Right.
I'm so excited for the future, you guys. Like, I'm so excited.
Sure. Yeah.
I think I'm going to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer in comparison to Chris. Shit.
Okay.
I think that we've seen incredible records broken this year, which is obviously great for the sport. It's fun to watch, especially the celebrations that follow them. However, I don't know if I would say the games that I've watched have been as entertaining as they have in the past. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. So I think we've talked about it before, but particularly after the trade deadline, we've seen a lot more brutality, which used to be super common.
Yeah.
It was dialed back. But we've seen a lot of like unnecessary hits. And we've seen a lot of questionable penalty calling, especially lately, especially against Tom Wilson. Which, like, I'm sorry, I still think that was such bullshit. A player hits him to the bench and he gets penalized. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
No, but the Wild have definitely seen there too.
Yeah, but I think all of our teams have been seeing it, and I think it comes from a place of the league is in such a weird position where they're trying to crack down on fighting in the NHL. And what's happening is that instead people are turning to like really dangerous play. Because they think they can get away with it, because if you are the first one to throw a punch, you're now going to get that instigator penalty.
Right.
And you're going to be sitting out. And so they're like, fine, I'll fucking take the chance and just hope that they get an added 2 minutes for roughing. We're seeing, I think it's a response, truthfully, to them trying to cut out fighting, which I understand where that's coming from. It is obviously very dangerous to go around punching people. That's how you get concussions. That's how you get broken jawbones. It's how you get a lot of shit. But I think it's actually at this point, from what I'm seeing, damaging the play, because we're spending a whole lot more time dealing with bullshit from dangerous hits and dangerous plays that then aren't being fully addressed by DOPS either. And so for me, that's been really frustrating this season, because while you have that going on, you also have people like Trevor Zegras, who are doing incredible things with the puck and inventing literal new ways of scoring. And I think it's just being overshadowed by a bunch of bullshit. And so while there's some cool highlights that have gone around this year because of cool plays and things like that, and we've had some goalie goals this year, which we all love. Everyone loves a goalie goal.
We have. That's
Um,
oh yeah.
It's just tough because I feel like the conversation has been more so around the negatives happening in the league. That I think it gets overshadowed, genuinely.
Very fair.
But I
Very
too am
fair.
excited for the future because there are so many talents coming up that we're getting to see. We're seeing the next Ovechkins right now, potentially.
Oh yeah, coming out,
and that's super
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'm like in this middle area, I guess.
And like you
which
mentioned with
I can definitely-
Ovechkin, like think of the crop of the players that came out of there, like
Yeah.
the early 2000s that are legends to this day, that carries some weight. To be considered the next Ovechkin, the next Crosby, like those players,
Yeah.
that carries a lot of fucking weight because they're champions. They're, like those are
they're the best
some of the
of the
greats.
best.
Yeah.
Well, like not even to be able to be considered as the next Crosby or Ovechkin, but to have chances to play with them too.
Oh
Like
God,
people
yeah.
who played with
absolutely.
Gretzky always talk about playing with fucking Gretzky. It doesn't matter if
Well,
they
that's
were the next Gretzky or if they were someone who was literally just a teammate and got to cheer them on.
Well, that's what
or somebody that
Crosby.
faced him.
That's what Crosby talks
Yeah.
about his first couple years in the NHL when Mario Lemieux came back and played.
Yep,
He,
I was
he
just gonna say Lemieux.
He says to this day he still pinches himself, like even to be able to call him a friend. But like
Yeah.
it's he's like, I played with one of the greatest players of all time. You know, like that's so crazy.
Or the goalies who have yet to be scored on by Alex Ovechkin, which there are a few, who like to brag about it. They like, look, I have an entire article about players who have faced him and come out without letting one in and how many shots they faced. And there are people who have faced like 20 and 30 shots from Ovechkin, and not let a single one in. And that's incredible. Like,
that is incredible.
I hope that at least one of them gets to keep saying that. You know what I mean? That they get to not be on his hit list, so to speak. Because I think that's a really cool statistic.
Right.
Absolutely. No, and I agree with what both of you said by far. Like we've talked about in previous episodes, like, there is the difference in what's being called. There's a difference in like certain aspects of gameplay that from what it was like when we were growing up, because fighting was a much bigger thing back then.
Yeah.
But I am excited for the future. I do think we need to kind of crack down more on some of the bullshit calls. I'm getting sick of the refs not calling it fair both ways. If you're going to call a game a certain way, call it the same way for both people.
Right.
Agreed.
So that's one thing I'm hopeful being the operative word for in the future, but who knows at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, I can't add anything that wasn't already said. So,
and I mean,
like,
it's just I don't know. Like you're both very correct in all of that, and it's just like I feel like we're heading in a good direction at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm hopeful that we're seeing several changes throughout the league. This season, we have seen a ton more players step away for mental health reasons and actually take advantage of the player assistance program. And I think those kinds of things are really helpful for moving the NHL along. So it's not that I think that the season overall sucked. It's just from a league perspective, I think the gameplay has been altered by some of the decision that top brass have made. But I think that the skill I think we're going to continue to see it improve year over year as people, genuinely, you couldn't have had an Alex Ovechkin without a Wayne Gretzky because Ovi grew up watching Gretzky, right?
Yeah.
Now think of the kids who are growing up watching Ovi, they're going to surpass him because you watch it and you learn something from it. So all of these kids, we think Trevor Zegras is an incredible innovator when it comes to shots on goal. Wait 10 years from now.
Yeah.
There's going to be some other kid with some other really interesting last name who's going to really make his mark on shots on goal, and it's going to be incredible to watch. And so I'm always excited to see where it goes. It's just right now it's kind of tough to see where that creativity is going to come from when we're putting people in like actual danger by trying to eliminate, in my opinion,
Part of the game.
ice justice.
Yeah, it's part of the
Right.
game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people watch hockey because they like hockey fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very much. I know a lot of
Absolutely.
friends.
And
I have a lot of
that's-
friends that are like that.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
it's totally cool.
I mean, that's on it. Like that's what got me interested in hockey to begin with,
Same.
because it is exciting and fun, and you know you want to watch
It's the
it.
only
but
sport where you can beat the shit out of somebody and not get fined for it.
literally the only
Right.
other sport like this is like box lacrosse.
Oh,
You could do
well,
the same, but that's
or
about it.
like actual boxing,
Yeah,
where
or
you
about like
legitimately
actual like combat
Right, yeah,
sports. But
very
like
fair.
right.
as
But like
to
for
your point, yeah, it's literally like indoor lacrosse and fucking hockey that they're
Right.
okay with fighting. And even
Yeah.
even in box lacrosse, it's not as
it's not as
prevalent
prevalent
as
yeah.
it was 10 years
Right.
ago.
Yeah.
Right. I hope they don't take away that aspect of the game, but I think that there are measures that can be done so that we do it more effectively and safely.
Yes. Agreed. I
that
think the
makes
solution
sense.
they're implementing right now is not the right one. I think they
No.
still need to implement a solution to make the sport safer, and I just think they are maybe approaching it incorrectly. So
I think that's fair.
yeah, I do too. That's why I said it. But yeah, I really like this question though, and so if you have a response to it, please let us know in those comments down below if you think or how you think this season's gameplay compared to that of previous seasons. We'd be curious to see if you guys differ, if you agree, what have you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, keeping it moving right along. Dee, do you have our 3 stars of the week?
I do. So this week, our third star is Alex Lyon, a goalie for the Florida Panthers. He stopped 117 out of 122 shots he faced. That is an insane number over the course of 3 games. Like, holy shit. He had a 1.6 goals against average and a 9.59 save percentage, which helped the Panthers clinch the first wild card position in the Eastern Conference. He turned aside 30 out of 40 attempts, including all 26 he faced after the first period, and a 2-1 win against the Buffalo Sabres. He then made a career-high 56 saves, which is only one shy of the franchise record, and a 7-2 triumph over the Ottawa Senators. And he finished the week with 22 stops and a 4-2 victory against the Caps, which unfortunately sucked for me. But like, happy for him. That's great.
Right.
So that is our third star. Our second star of the week is Jordan Eberle. He is a right winger for the Seattle Kraken. Eberle had 4 goals and 4 assists for a total of 8 points, highlighted by a pair of game-winning goals in 4 outings, which helped them, the Kraken, helped them clinch a perfect week, as they also clinched their first playoff berth in franchise history, which their franchise history is like 2 seasons. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, this is their second year, I think.
But still, like, shout out to them for making it in their second season, you know?
I just, when they say it, like, clinch their first ever franchise berth, usually they're talking about like in 15 years, but they mean in like 3. So it's just funny to me. But that's really quick to be doing this well. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
He scored once during the game against Arizona Coyotes, and then he recorded the decisive goal in each of the Seattle's 2 next games, in a win over the Vancouver Canucks and over the Coyotes again, which is playing them a lot well. He then finished the week with a goal and an assist, reaching the 20-goal milestone for the 8th time in his 13 seasons, which is also impressive.
Oh, yeah.
And second time in as many years with the Kraken. Again, they've been around for 2 years, so
Yeah, but
he
he's
has
also
been a consistent,
so instrumental to what
yeah,
they're
no,
doing
he's
there,
been a
you know?
consistent contributor for that team, which is awesome to see. He is 32 years old, and he's skated in 29 total games this season, which places him among the top performers in game-winning goals. He's actually tied for first with 4. He is leading them in assists, where he is second with 43, and points, where he is third with 63, and goals, where he is tied for 4th with 20. And then finally, a name that we are all very familiar with. For our first star, we have Nathan MacKinnon, a center for the Colorado Avalanche. He scored a trio of game-winning goals and shared the league lead in goals and points across 4 contests as well. So he had 5 goals and 10 points. He became the 7th player in Avalanche/Nordiques history, and first since Joe Sakic. I can't say that name right now. My mouth is dry.
Joe Sakic. I got you.
Thank you, Chris. In 2006 and 7 to reach the 100-point milestone when he posted 2 goals and 1 assist in a 4-3 victory over the San Jose Sharks. McKinnon then registered his 15th 4-point performance and 4th of the season, which is crazy. He has 4 times this season put up a 4-point performance.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It was 1 goal and 3 assists, including the game-winning goal and a well, not the game-winning goal, but the goal that sort of made it like, all right, you guys aren't coming back from this one. Against the Sharks on April 6th. He also he did not score, unfortunately, in the 4-3 win over the Kings, but the next game he then went on to score 2 goals and an assist with an overtime game-winning goal and a 5-4 triumph against the Anaheim Ducks. Sorry, Chris.
Hey, listen, it's totally fine.
Yeah, you're like, actually, I'd prefer that we lost.
I just wish we lost in regulation.
Right?
Stop
So
getting
you didn't get
fucking
that precious
points.
point.
Listen, the season is only
Too
good
funny.
with us being last if we get Connor Bedard. Other than that, it's a fucking failure.
It's just fucking, yeah, absolutely. Same like as if the Bruins don't get the cup, then their season is a fucking failure.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, he has scored the game-winning goal in 5 of Colorado's last 7 games, dating back to March 27th. Only 2 other players in the NHL's expansion era have accounted for at least 5 game-winning goals over a span of 17 games. So that's kind of cool as well. So those are our 3 stars of the week.
Awesome.
Back to you, Danger.
Well, thank you for that amazing segment of the 3 stars of the week. And that's Chris. Do you have our wild card current battles and who's now clinched it?
I do indeed. So, as Dee previously mentioned, the Florida Panthers have clanched. We're doing good, guys.
They clanched it.
Hey,
now
I've
you're
fucked up
talking like
more
you're
times than I can count
Minnesotan
tonight.
So they clinched the number 1 spot in the wild card for the Eastern Conference. That is still a 2-horse race between the New York Islanders and Pittsburgh Penguins. Unfortunately, the Buffalo Sabres were mathematically eliminated tonight in their loss to the New Jersey Devils. I want to give love to them, man. They have 87 points. They're still they're like 5 points out of wild card spot. So like good love to them. Good, like all the love to them. The Western Conference is officially wrapped up as the Calgary Flames were mathematically eliminated yesterday. So that means the Seattle Kraken and Winnipeg Jets. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was finalized tonight with Winnipeg's win over Minnesota.
Yeah, fuck Winnipeg.
But they are officially your 2 wild card teams in the West.
I hope we crush them in the playoffs. Anyway, continue.
I'm really excited.
I'll stop shit talking.
I'm really excited to see what happens in the last game of the season for the Islanders and the Penguins. The Pens are 1 point out.
Yeah,
literally.
The Islanders got to pull it big.
They have to win, and the Islanders have to not lose. That's
the Islanders have to not lose in regulation.
Yeah. Yep. Because they can, and well, I don't know how the tiebreaker is going to work. That's the question.
I don't either.
I feel like, what is the goal differential?
I think you're right. I think it does go to goal differential, which Islanders are plus 19 and
Pens are minus one.
So Islanders will win it off of that.
I wonder if they do that. I wonder if they do it off of like conference, or not conference, but like can you tell I'm a college basketball fan? Do it off of like divisional records or something like that. I'd be very curious to see how that goes. But it's all taking shape. We're literally, and I did say this several times, and I'm glad I wasn't, but this wild card race has not disappointed. It's coming down to the last game of the season.
Yeah.
It really is.
Which is
it
good.
Really is.
That's what we want to see. It's always nice when your team wraps it up without having to be in the wild card position. But you always want to see a tight race for the wild card because it's boring
Right.
otherwise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like the Islanders are a team that is really good, and the Penguins are a team that, regardless of where they're seated, they're always a threat in the playoffs. So,
Which is why I'm hoping they lose.
she's like, I don't want to see the Penguins. They could just win the fucking cup. They
Look,
could. They're weird like that.
All I'm saying is that the Caps are obviously out this year, and I would like to see Pittsburgh joining us, on the bench, cheering on our friends.
I think, however this shakes out, you gotta give congrats to both teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I was really bummed with Buffalo though tonight. I was really hoping it would have gone that way. But next year,
Tage just couldn't put up another 5 points by himself in
I
one
know,
game.
I know.
Right.
Next year though, I will say they will be one of the front runners for the for a top wild card spot.
Well, thank you both, Chris and Dee, for leading those two segments. Now, our second to last one, shockingly enough, is injuries and suspensions. Well, I should say injuries and fines, because we really don't have any suspensions.
Yeah.
But we do have a couple of people that were fined, and by a couple, I mean 4. April 5th, both. Hold on, if my mouse would stop auto-scrolling, thank you. Adam Fox of the New York Rangers and Alex Killhorn of the Tampa Bay Lightning both received a $5,000 fine for slashing. Adam Fox slashed against Corey Perry.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex Killhorn slashed against Igor Shishkirchkin. And I can't say his name correctly, and I'm no longer trying.
Perfect.
On April 2nd, Mark Friedman from the Penguins, fuck the Penguins, got a $2,000 fine for a second citation of diving/embellishment. Which is awesome. I fucking love it. I wonder if this will take me to a video, and I might have to watch that later. But anyway, and then finally, Ryan Strom of the Anaheim Ducks received a $5,000 fine for unsportsmanlike conduct against the entire Colorado Avalanche team.
What did he do?
Ryan Strom.
I don't know.
Ryan Strom. He was running his mouth like he does.
I'm 100%.
Okay, so it wasn't
honestly, I wasn't mad.
Was it like an obscene gesture, or did he just tell him to go fuck himself 57 times like that coach
It was a bit
did?
of both.
Okay.
It was a bit of both.
A little bit of both. Okay.
But like, I love Ryan Strom doing shit like that, so that's why I was like, I can't be mad at that.
Too funny.
Yeah, it does. This doesn't have a video, but apparently the incident occurred at 4 minutes 15 seconds of overtime.
Yep.
Oh, it was an overtime, no less?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's super funny. But yeah, we love to see it.
Boys.
The naughty boys. But hey, that's $17,000 to the player assistance fund.
Yeah.
Which we can't be upset about.
No, because people should be using it. So glad it's there.
People should be using it, and thankfully we have seen people this year use it, which is awesome. Yeah. Again, I'm going to do similar to last week, where I'm just going to run down the ones with current-ish dates. If they're repeats, it's because there's some sort of an update, or they changed their wording, or they just changed the date. I don't fucking know. Yeah. I don't track that much. But for Anaheim, we have John Gibson, who was held out previous to 3 games with an illness. May or may not be back this week, as is Scott Harrington. He sat out the last 2 games with an upper body injury. May or may not be playing this week. Brock McGinn missed the last 2 games with an upper body injury. Mm-hmm. Upper body injury yet to be confirmed. Yada. We were singing that song before. That's why it's in my head. But he is questionable for this week. Troy Terry is also questionable. This said for Monday, which was yesterday,
past that?
But yeah, we're past that, so I'm assuming he didn't play. But he exited the last game on account of a personal matter.
Oh.
So unsure what that is. Maybe a family emergency or something that would cause him to leave in the middle of a game. But we'll see. For For Arizona, nothing really new. There's still a bunch of probables, people, injured for a couple of days at the end of March, but we're past that, so I don't know what's going on with the updates there. But ideally, everybody's there. For Boston, unfortunately, Nick Foligno, one of our Masterson trophy nominees, is injured. He is now on long-term IR with a lower body injury. Unsure how long he will be out. Same with Derek Forbort, who is now on long-term IR, aka out for the season, with a lower body injury.
Forbort is just such a funny name.
Forbort, right?
Yeah, it just makes me giggle every time. Forbort.
Right. David Krejci? I don't know how to say that. But he was held out the last 4 games with a lower body injury. May or may not be back this week. For Buffalo, we have Craig Anderson, who is sidelined with an upper body ailment. He is listed as out indefinitely, but that's the only new injury on Buffalo's team. Another Masterson Trophy nominee, Chris Tanev, sat out the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Brandon's brother, Chris, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But this Tanev sat out the last 3 games with an upper body injury. Unknown if he will lace up today against, it says questionable Tuesday, but I'm assuming he didn't play tonight. For Carolina, we have Stefan Nosin. I just pictured the monkey covering his eyes. See? Anyway, he missed the last game with a lower body injury. May or may not be suiting up this week for Carolina. Nobody else knew there. For Chicago, they have Taylor Radish, or Radish. I don't know how you're supposed to say it.
I think it's Radish.
Okay, good. He is sidelined with a groin injury, most likely out for the rest of the season. And Jared Tenorti departed the last game with an undefined issue, yet to be established if he will be playing this week.
He's been hurt a lot this year.
He has been. But I think he took a puck to the face.
Yes, that's right.
And
he did take that puck
to the face. The
Wild
did it. Did the Wild do it? Is that the one we did?
Was it a puck or was it a snow? He was the one that got hit with the skate.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that got hit in the face with the skate.
So that wasn't their fault.
That's right.
For Colorado, we have Bowen Byram, who missed the last 2 games with an illness, who may be back this week. Darren Helm is out with a lower body injury, out indefinitely is how it's listed. Kel McCarr is also out indefinitely with a lower body injury. For Columbus, Jesus, Columbus, get your shit together too.
Right.
As far as new injuries, we have Elvis Merzlinskins is out of action with a leg injury, yet to provide an exact return date from team officials. Lane Pedersen suffered an upper body injury, will be out indefinitely. Eric Robertson left the last game with an upper body injury, but may or may not be back this week. Dallas has nobody new, which, again, like I said last week, somebody fix that, please. Detroit, we have Ville Husso, or Vile Husso? I don't know. Ville. Okay. He was from the last 2 games with a lower body injury. Questionable for tonight against the Penguins. Marco Kasper is out with a lower body injury for the rest of the season, but no further details on that injury. For Edmonton, we have Cody Ceci, missed the last match while tending to a personal matter, may or may not be back this week. Ryan McLeod is still out with an upper body injury, expected back in early April, but the date was updated to the 7th. Which was updated from last year, but right. But like we're getting, I mean, next week I would this week I would consider getting into maybe mid. Anyway, doesn't matter. Semantics. For Florida, we have Sam Bennett, who has been absent from the last 3 games with a groin injury. May or may not be back this week, but that's the only new one there. For the Kings, we have Mikey Anderson was sidelined with an undefined ailment, currently listed as out indefinitely. Alexander Edler missed the last 3 games with an upper body injury. Remains to be seen if he will play this week. Same with Kevin Fiala, who missed the last 4 games with a lower body injury. Blake Lizotte was suspended, but was eligible last week. But anyway. And then Gabriel Velarde is out with an upper body injury and is listed as out indefinitely. For Minnesota, stop fucking my team up, please, and thank you. Anyway,
Girl, I feel you so
Joel,
much.
right? God, we've held it relatively together this season.
Yeah.
Until now. But Joel Eriksson Ek is out with a lower body injury. He had kind of a nasty-ish hit, if I remember correctly, on him. He is right now both listed as out indefinitely and week to week. So we'll see. He'll be back by playoffs, I'm sure. Klingberg had missed the last 2 games with an upper body injury. That's not new, but we didn't talk about him last week, and I don't know why. I don't think he was fully on the thing last week. We talked about Mason Shaw earlier, but he is now out for the rest of the season with that ACL tear in his right knee. 4th surgery for him, so we wish him the best, but thankfully he'll be rehabbing over the summer with the boys. Yeah. And then Oscar Sundqvist missed the last game with a lower body injury. I don't believe he played yesterday against Chicago. And now, no, it was JoJo. I don't think he played tonight against Winnipeg. So they're probably resting Sonny as well. Montreal is still fucking falling apart. What else is new? Jake Allen sat out the last 3 games with a lower body injury. May or may not be back this week. Paul Byron is out for the rest of the season, still recuperating from that off-season procedure for a lower body injury. I don't know if that means he played at all or if they just added him to the list now. I'm so confused. Anyway, Jordan Harris missed the last 3 games with a lower body injury, may or may not be back this week. That's the last new one for Montreal. For Nashville, we have Roman.
Almost as long as the fucking Montreal one at this point.
Right. But we have Roman Josi is out with an upper body injury. Expected back mid-April. Jeremy Lozon is out with an upper body issue. Out indefinitely is how he's listed. And Cole Smith is also out with an upper body injury and out indefinitely. Nobody new for New Jersey, which is a good thing for them. They're doing awesome so far. Yeah. For the Islanders, really the only new one is Alexander Romanov, who has been absent from the last 3 games with a left arm injury. May or may not be back this week. For the Rangers, we have Ryan Lindgren, who sat out the last 2 games with an upper body injury. May or may not be back this week. For Ottawa, we have Derek Brassard. Will be sidelined for the rest of the season while recuperating from surgery to correct a broken fibula.
Oh.
And that was updated on the 1st. So he must have broken his leg recently. Thomas Chabot is out as well for the rest of the season with an upper body ailment, but that's all that's listed there. Jacob Chikrin is now out for the rest of the season with a lower body injury, which sucks for Ottawa. Travis Hamonic will be out the rest of the season with a lower body injury. And Austin Watson is out for the rest of the season with a lower body injury. So thank God Ottawa is not going anywhere. For Philly, Sean Courtier is out for the rest of the season with that back surgery revision, but that just got updated on the 1st, so I'll mention it again. And Nick Seeler is questionable for today's game, Tuesday. But I don't know that he played against Columbus tonight, but he should be back this week. He just had an illness. Syphilis bus.
Syphilis bus.
Syphilis bus.
Yeah.
For Pittsburgh, we have Drew O'Connor, who is absent from the last game with an upper body injury, may or may not be back this week, as is Marcus Pettersson, who is on long-term IR with a lower body injury, may be back middle of April. For San Jose, Alexander Barbanoff is expected to miss the rest of the season with a lower body injury. Oscar Lindblom missed the last 4 games with an upper body injury, may or may not be back this week. Jeffrey Veal sat out the last 3 games with a upper body injury, or ailment, it says. Should be back this week, as is Mark-Edward Vlasic. Wonder if that's like Vlasic Pickles. It's spelled the same way.
I was wondering the same thing, actually.
Good, because I didn't know if that was just like me all of a sudden craving pickles really bad, or if that was the correct way they spell it. Anyway, He left the last game with an undetermined ailment, syphilis, but may or may not be back this week. For the Kraken, we have John Hayden, who is now on IR after having surgery for a lower body injury. He is out the rest of this season. Martin Jones is questionable this week. He left the last game with a hand injury. And Jaden Schwartz was absent the last game for rest purposes. May or may not be back this week. For St. Louis, we have Todd Bertuzzo, sidelined with an upper body injury, not expected to be back until mid-April. Thomas Grice, sidelined after undergoing a procedure to correct a lower body injury. He is out for the season, as is Marco Scandella, which I don't think that was updated to out for the season last week.
No, it wasn't.
Love Scandella. That's for him.
I think they're just letting him rest.
Right. Oh, well, and St. Louis isn't in the playoffs anyway, so it's not like they're going to push him.
No.
For Tampa Bay, we have Tanner Ginot, which is an awesome last name.
I think.
Janot, but Ginot is how it's spelled, and that's how I'm going to say it.
Ginot.
Missed the last game with a leg injury, may or may not be back this week. And Mikhail Sergachev. Yep. Mm-hmm. Missed the last game while attending the birth of his child, and may or may not have laced up tonight against the Maple Leafs. So hopefully a birth of a baby went well.
Yes.
For Toronto, we have TJ Brody, who is questionable for actually yesterday's game, but he was held out for rest purposes. I wish I would have seen that. I wouldn't even mentioned it. But anyway, Eric Gustafsson may or may not be back this week. He did miss the last 2 games with a personal matter. Kale Jarnkrok was held out the last game with an undefined injury. May or may not be back this week. Matt Murray is questionable for yesterday's game. He missed the last 3 games with a head injury. May or may not have been back. I don't really care. I'm not happy with Matt Murray this season. If you don't know why, go back and listen to their previous episodes.
Yeah,
we've mentioned
there's a title with a Matt Murray. Yeah, I was
going to
say there's a whole title that has Matt Murray in it. So
I think there's a couple actually.
I'm sure there is. No one knew. Actually, that's a lie. Vlasky Podkolzin. Sure. For Vancouver, is sidelined with an unknown issue. No timetable currently for his return. And that was updated, or at least listed, on the 4th, which is our last recording day. And because I can't ever get through an entire injury segment without at least clicking back once.
It's tradition, and you don't
break
tradition.
Tradition. For Vegas, we have Jack Eichel, who is held out from the last game with an unknown injury. May or may not be back this week. Shea Theodore is out indefinitely with an unknown issue, and Zach Whitecloud exited the last game with a lower body injury. May or may not be playing tonight against the Kraken. But he had like just come off of IR, if I remember correctly, or recently at least. And then for the Caps, we have Anthony Mantha, missed the last 2 games with a lower body injury, may or may not be back this week.
He did
TJ
not play today.
Oshie. Okay.
Mantha's out for the season. Oshie's out for the season. No update on Ovechkin. He's probably out for the season. Sonny Milano is back
'cause
and
you guys
has
aren't
been back,
going.
so I don't know why he wasn't updated. And TVR is likely out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and
Well,
like with 2
right,
games
which
left of the
makes
season
sense.
or 1 game, it's
Right,
probably
They're
yeah,
basically
without you
just
guys
like,
going
yeah,
to-
y'all just take a little nap. It's fine. They're not
Take a
going to
little
try and
nap.
stress them.
Plus
Right.
sleepy sleeps.
Which makes sense. And nobody knew for Winnipeg. Again, somebody please, for the love of God, fucking fix that. Chris. Who's
Yes.
our obscure player of the week?
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
tell us, Chris.
so glad you two lovely ladies asked. Today, our obscure NHL player of the week is none other than a man by the name of David Emma. David Emma was born in Cranston, Rhode Island. Shout out to
Shout
more
out
New
to
Englanders.
Cranston.
Cranston.
My best friend's from Cranston.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
not
I've
a
been
great
there
place to
multiple
be,
times. Shout out to
but-
Cranston.
Shout out to New Englanders, more New Englanders. David Emma was drafted 110th overall in 1989 Jersey Devils, in which he played with them for a few seasons, most notably in 92-93, when, can anyone guess what they did in 92-93?
Yeah, I'll let you take
They-
this one. I've taken the last like
I
3.
think they won a Stanley Cup champion, if I'm not wrong, Chris. And if I'm wrong,
no.
then what the fuck?
No, they won the Stanley Cup the next year.
You
Are you
dickhead.
shitting me?
Yeah.
You fucking dick.
You fucking dick. You set me up.
You 100. I'm so glad
You
I
won-
let you take that one,
Right?
D.
Danger
I
let me take the
fucking-
ball for that. Fuck you, Chris.
I wish that was planned, but it wasn't.
They won it in 94.
God damn it, dude.
Fucking, we both bit
Listen,
hard
I
on
had
that
to.
one.
I had to.
You know what
Just
though?
once.
I actually appreciate that you did that.
No,
Yeah.
you're dumb. No. The Penguins
It's
won
funny.
in 92.
That's so
93.
funny.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that because it's the Penguins.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The in 93 technically it was the Montreal Canadiens. 92 was the Penguins, and so was 91.
Yeah,
But
fuck the
he-
Penguins. That's why I hate the Penguins. Was
Oh,
like
also,
the
that-
90-91.
Think about
playoffs.
1993 was the last time a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup.
Crazy.
It has been 30 years.
It's been 30 fucking years.
It
It almost makes me want to root
insane.
for a Canadian team.
The Oilers, man, I predicted
Hey,
at the beginning
I'll
of the
tell
season.
you, if Reynolds buys Ottawa, I'm an Ottawa fan. I'll tell you
Boy,
that
yeah.
much right
Well,
now.
he sold everything
Same
else.
here.
He did sell everything else,
He
like
did sell
that
everything
he's
else.
planning for a big purchase or something.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think he's sold his soccer team. or
No, he's not
football
going
team.
to. He's not going to sell Wrexham.
No,
No, he
but
has too much fun there.
He is part of a
right.
bid. He
But
is
that's
part
why
of a,
I think him
he's
wanting to
part of
buy
an
Ottawa
investment
too.
group for Ottawa. That's
Mhm.
actually got real steam as like the top candidate.
Right.
But David Emma, he played for three
games.
different. There we go. We got it. He played for 3 different teams in his tiny NHL career that spanned 34 games. He had 5 goals, 6 assists, which is a total of 11 points. Because I can do math.
You know, that's really not that terrible.
Good job, Chris.
No,
it's
honestly,
really not.
11 points in 34 games is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one that we all love to know, his penalty minutes. He had 2,
Shut up.
but
That's
in
insane.
the AHL he had 20005 penalty minutes
Oh,
and
okay.
257 games.
So he cleaned up his
So he
act
just-
for the NHL.
Yeah, he held his
He was
tongue.
like, I want to hold on to all these big bucks that I make for all these appearances, so I'm going to be on my best behavior and not get fined.
He represented the United States in 3 different tournaments through 1988 to 1999, including the World Junior Championship, the Hockey World Cup, and the Olympics.
Wow.
But yeah, he retired in the AHL 2000-2001 with the Portland Pirates.
Okay.
Okay.
which is super cool. He is, as of 2011, a wealth management advisor for Masterson, Emma, and Associates.
Oh,
Very
so
cool.
he's
Got your name on the masthead there, bud.
yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, and
Got your name on the
he
door.
went to Boston
Okay.
College, so
Right
he
on.
stayed full New England, all the way
Nice.
He
through.
stayed full New England.
Full New England. Listen,
That's
Never
just
go full
something
New
in New
England.
England.
I've
Never
gone
go.
full New
You
England
never
my
go full
entire
New
life.
You never go full New
Never
England.
go full New England.
Fun
Never.
fact: do you know what current NHL star played at Boston University?
No.
I'm
Jack
sure
Eichel.
several. Oh, okay.
Who's
current, like,
injured
top star.
like
Yeah.
a son of a gun
Yeah.
right now. I hope Jack can
Yeah.
get better. He's just had a rough go of it.
Jack Eichel is fun to watch.
Yeah.
We are still on the lookout for our player with 1 goal or 1 game and like a shit ton of penalty minutes.
Right. He was
Right.
literally just contracted to beat the fuck out of
I
somebody.
also want to point out I went through 5 different Stanley Cup years to find this fucking player because everyone kept picking like years in the 70s when the Habs won, and like everyone from Montreal in the 70s is a fucking Hall of Famer or played
Yeah.
2,000
Right.
games. So it was a little tough to find this one, but
I bet.
yeah,
Him
we
and
found
his
David
Well,
two
I'm
Emma.
penalty
glad that you
minutes.
found him because 2 fucking NHL penalty minutes is impressive.
Honestly, yeah.
Did it say what they were for? Was it like a slashing or
It
hooking?
doesn't,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I'm sure I
Okay.
could find it, but
Yeah. I mean, I could find it too. I was just
It was
curious
probably
if
for
your
something like
research
super,
had it.
super silly, like
Stupid, yeah. 2
playing the
minutes for
puck out of
interfering.
bounds or something.
tripping.
High
Yeah,
stick.
delay of game. Like,
Yeah, delay a game.
Which in the 90s, was that still a penalty? I don't
I don't
remember
know.
if that was
Yeah,
a penalty.
well,
then.
if
You
I
tell me,
don't
Chris.
remember if it did.
This is your segment.
Dude, that's fucking research your boy is not
All right,
ready
hold
to do
on.
today. We will come back with that information next week if we can find
Yeah,
it.
let us know if you're
Yeah.
interested in knowing it.
Or just tell us your damn selves. Jesus Christ, we don't have to do everything for you.
Yeah, somebody fucking Google that shit.
Jeez. D spicy all of a sudden.
I don't know why. I just, yeah. Accept it.
Hey, David
Let it
Emma
happen.
was also born in 1969. Nice.
Ooh. Yeah, how did you leave that stat out, Chris?
Which that?
That he was born in
He was born
69.
in
yeah.
69.
Yeah, he's also got a middle name I wasn't even going to attempt to pronounce.
What is it?
Yeah, I don't even know. It begins with
Put it
an
in
A
the
and it's
chat.
long.
Put it in the chat. I want to see.
Listen,
I would like to know.
I will let you try to pronounce.
Yeah, let the girl who can't speak right try to pronounce things.
I mean, hey,
Anna
tonight.
Clesson? Anaclesson? Anaclesson.
Anacleth?
Anacleth?
Yeah,
Anacleth?
Anacleth.
I bet
David
you that was
Anacleth
like
Emma?
his
It's
mom's
his
maiden
mom's
name or
maiden
something.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's like an
Or
Irish.
his mom's name.
Yeah.
Right.
Too. Do that. But yeah, David Anacleth Emma. Which you do have 2 very feminine names there.
Right.
Correct.
Kind
And
of
then
cute.
David. I was like, I've never even heard of anybody with the last name Emma. And like,
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it at all. I think it's cute.
Now I'm
Right.
curious. Who
You got
won
any
the
sons my
92
age, David?
Olympics?
Better grow up. Are you
it
actually
doesn't
looking it
say
up,
it.
Chris?
What, the 92 Olympics?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, no.
I thought you were looking up
I'm
if,
just.
if David Emma had a son my age.
Oh no, I haven't. I could Facebook or like Instagram stalk him.
There you
No.
go.
I'm all set.
Like,
Thank you, though.
never mind us collective 2 or 3 people looking at your profile 1,000 times in 24
In the next
hours.
45
We're just trying to
minutes,
figure
yeah.
something out.
He's on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Don't worry about it.
Well,
I
yeah.
do not care. I was making a joke.
No, I know, but that
no.
would be fucking awesome.
Now I'm looking.
Now
D
we're
Emma
Emma
connected.
would be cute.
Right? I'm saying. You got a cousin, David?
Right?
That's not in their 50s or whatever.
I don't
Hey,
know.
listen,
If he's in his 50s and he's got money, I might not say no to it. I'm going to be honest with you.
you know what?
Hey.
Fair.
Your girl
You do
needs a
you,
secure
boo-boo.
future.
Right?
And honestly, from what I can tell, he's not really that bad looking of a guy.
Yeah.
You're not going to make me Google him later. Because now the curiosity is peaked.
Curiosity killed the cat. Just remember that.
But satisfaction brought it back. That's how that saying actually ends.
Ah, fair. Well, on that note, you guys, thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of the Pucked Up podcast. With this being the final week of regular season play, I just have to take a second, and I swear it'll only be a second, to say thanks. This being the first year of the podcast, it definitely has been a learning experience, and I think we all have good ideas and things to take into next season to make the podcast better. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please let us know. But fucking thanks for putting up with us this long.
And you could tell throughout we definitely our cadence is better, and
oh
this
yeah,
is, believe it or not, you guys, like on the outside we're friends, like these are two of my best
I
friends,
mean, I
but like
tolerate
we've
Chris,
never
but that's fine.
okay. But like
No, we do love each
I'm
other.
sorry.
Genuinely.
We do
we've
love
never
each
like
other.
worked together in this aspect, like because they have their own show, we have like I have like less than normal, and in that aspect this is new for us to do together as well. So it was gaining that, camaraderie and that chemistry. And I think it's been fun to watch us grow. And by no means, this is not our last episode. We'll be with you guys through the playoffs and the Stanley Cup Finals. But
oh yeah.
But yeah, I echo that sentiment. Thank you guys for being here. It's been a hell of a first year of LTN Media, and
It has. Absolutely.
Anyway, like we said, thank you guys so much. Please let us know if you have a question of the week for us for next week, or any of the subsequent weeks through playoffs. Let us know in any comment. You can follow us on Twitch, Discord, YouTube, all of the podcasts, forums or mediums. I don't know what the fucking right word is anymore. It's very late.
Let us know your favorite moment of the season. That's what I want to hear from you guys. What was your favorite moment this season?
Fair.
Yeah.
But lastly, let me just reiterate, we fucking love you, mother puckers, and we will see you next week again in the face-off circle.